I'm a little bit irritated right now because I recorded this video once already. Something happened and it did not save it, so I gotta record this again. So I may talk a little bit less about each teams because I already talked about everybody once. I'm a little bit upset, but still gotta do a video again. So here's our Week 3 NFL Power Rankings. Number 32 is the Chicago Bears. They sucked this week. Justin Fields sucked this week. They moved down 2 spots for losing to the Bucks by 10. They should have had a chance. They did have a chance to win the game. They're down by 3 with like 2.5 minutes left, and Justin Fields decides to throw an interception for a touchdown. So, not exactly the kind of touchdown you're looking for on a potential game-winning drive. So yeah, bad game for the Bears. DJ Moore played good, but that's about it. Yeah. So they're the worst team in the league right now. The Cardinals, 31, we're 32, moved up 1 spot after barely losing to the Giants by 3. I still don't exactly know how the Cardinals are even playing decent this year. They were up 28-7 in this game at some point. I don't really understand how that is possible because this team has 0 talent on their roster, on paper. But, they're playing surprisingly well. After they got up 28-7, they finally remembered. They're like, oh crap, we want Caleb Williams. So then they're like, okay guys, that's enough trying for this game. You can go lose. So yeah, Josh Dobbs played good this game somehow. James Conner, he plays good every game, mostly James Conner. He's pretty solid, but yeah, I don't know how the Cardinals are playing good, but they are still, one of the worst teams in the league. But yeah, the number 31. Number 30 is the Houston Texans. So the Texans are not a good team this year. I did not expect them to be a good team this year. CJ Stroud, however, he played really well this game. He had 384 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins this game had 146 yards and a touchdown. So that duo right there played outstanding this game. Overall, their offense only had 20 points and a turnover, not great. But those 2 players right there played really well. They could be a great duo going forward in the future. Their defense led up 31 points to the Colts, which was not great, but I'm not expecting much out of this Houston Texans team right now. Number 29 is the Panthers. They were number 27, moved down 2 spots after losing to the Saints by 3. They lost to the Saints by 3 points. Not bad to only lose by 3. They only allowed 20 points, had a takeaway. But they only put up 17 points and had a turnover. So their offense has got to do better. Bryce Young only had 153 yards. So Bryce Young needs to do better. That's for sure. Also have some injuries. J.C. Horn on the IR. Shaq Thompson injured for the season. So definitely not doing great there with their defensive injuries. But yeah, not expecting much out of this team. Just thought Bryce Young would do a little bit better than he is. Number 28 is the Raiders. They moved down 3 spots. After getting destroyed by the Bills, I should say. Their offense put up 10 points and had 3 turnovers. Jimmy Garoppolo had less than 200 yards and 2 interceptions. So he played bad. Their offense played bad. They just did not play good this game at all. They let up 38 points this week. That's not great at all. Horrible game for the Raiders this week. Also, Chandler Jones has not played the first 2 games due to personal reasons, and he's not. He's not going to play for the foreseeable future for those personal reasons as well. Not exactly sure what the problem is, but I hope he does get to play at some point, and definitely Raiders fans will hope he plays at some point too. Giants at number 27, they were 26, moved down 1 spot after barely beating the Cardinals. If I was a Giants fan in this game, I probably would have killed myself at halftime, being down 20-0 to the Arizona Cardinals. But you know what? Somehow the Giants figured out how to play football, and they won this game, like they should have been doing from the beginning. But they had a 28-7 comeback. Pretty solid second half for the Giants. But like I said, if I was a Giants fan watching this game, I would not have been alive to watch the second half. But they won. So good job, Giants. You beat the worst team in football barely. Not a flex. The Colts at number 26, they were 29, moving up 3 spots. They beat the Texans by like 11 points or something, Their offense had 31 points this week. That's pretty solid. Anthony Richardson had 2 touchdowns. He barely played because he got a concussion, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns this week. Pretty good. Gardner Minshew was his backup. He came in and played really solid as well. So even if Anthony Richardson misses week 3, Gardner Minshew is a pretty solid option to be his backup right there. I would not exactly brag about beating the Texans as a Colts fan because the Texans are, not a good team. But also as a Colts fan, I'm going to take my wins I'm going to take all the wins that I can get. So, 11-point dub is a pretty solid victory for them. The Titans at 25, they were number 28, moved up 3 spots after beating the Chargers. Ryan Tannehill played football this week. He did not play like a third-grade girl. He actually played like he knew how to play football. He did not have 3 interceptions this week. Crazy. He actually had 2 touchdowns this week and 123 passer rating. So he played really good this week. Their defense also played good, only allowing 24 points. Their offense scored 27. Their defense allowed 24. The Titans overall had a pretty solid game this week. I guess it's all going to depend on whether or not Ryan Tannehill wants to play football. This week he did. They won. Last week he didn't. They lost. So that's basically what it comes down to. Derrick Henry played good this week, but he's going to play good every week. So, yeah. Patriots at 24. We're 23. They only lost to the Dolphins by 7, so they still lost, which isn't great. They only put up 17 points, which isn't great. But it's not horrible. I guess it is pretty bad. 17 points is bad with 2 turnovers, really bad offense. But the defense only allowed 24 points. Tua did not even play great this game. Tyreek Hill had like less than 50 receiving yards, so they shut down what worked for them last week. But, the Dolphins just decided to run the ball instead because the Patriots let Raheem Mostert dog on them. But, they only lost by 7. I said that's pretty solid. They only lost their first 2 games of the year by 1 possession each game to 2 of the top teams in football. So that's not bad for Patriots fans. That's some reason for optimism as you're starting 0-2. Broncos at 23, we're 17. So they're the Broncos. You guys are definitely playing better than you did last year. Your offense is scoring points. That's definitely progress. Russell Wilson's playing good. That's progress. You're still not winning games, though. Because your defense let the Washington Commanders score 35 points on you. I don't understand that. Your defense is supposed to be the good part about you, and you let Sam Howell have 300 passing yards. Do better. Russell Wilson had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Marvin Mims had 100 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Johnson had 2 touchdowns. So, your offense is obviously not the problem. Your 2 wide receivers that were not even supposed to be good wide receivers for your team balled out, and Russell Wilson balled out, and you still can't beat the Commanders. So that's kind of sad. And Greg Dulcich is on the IR, so that does not help anything. Saints at 22, we're 21. They moved down 1 spot after beating the Panthers. They beat the Panthers by 3. The Saints, they're playing solid this year. They're 2-0, but their offense has not been good. They had 20 points this week and a turnover. They had less points last week, but they still won the game. So their offense has not scored over 20 points in a game. That's not great, but their defense is doing really good. They only allowed 17 points and had a takeaway, so that's pretty solid. But Derek Carr did not play good. Taysom Hill played good at receiver, quarterback, running back, whatever. He played good total of 80 yards in this game. Jamal Williams got injured. He's supposed to be injured for a few weeks, but Tony Jones stepped in and had 2 touchdowns this game. So, and Kamara's going to be back soon. So, they're still doing pretty solid there. Marcus May, safety, is also suspended for 3 games due to drugs and stuff, don't be dumb, bro. So that's going to hurt him a little bit on defense, but still doing pretty solid for the Saints. They're 2-0, number 22. Vikings, number 21, moved down 6 spots from number 15. They lost by 6 to the Eagles. Not bad on paper. But if you actually watch this game, they were down by multiple possessions throughout most of this game. And And their offense had 4 turnovers. Kirk Cousins only had 1 turnover, but the total offense had 28 points and 4 turnovers. That's not great. Kirk Cousins had 360 yards and 4 touchdowns with only 1 turnover, so he's not the problem. Justin Jefferson had 150 yards. He's not the problem. Like, I don't know. They had 3 fumbles this game. You guys got to hold on to the ball, basically. And they let up 34 points. Not great. So, Vikings, hold on to the ball, play a little bit of defense, and you're going to win some games. Number 20 is the Jets, moved down 9 spots from number 11. Zach Wilson sucked this game. I know that's probably what I should have expected, but last week he didn't play horrible. So I thought maybe he wouldn't play like complete garbage this week, and maybe he wouldn't be the sole reason that they are losing football games. But I should have expected this. Zach Wilson had 3 turnovers this game, a 38 passer rating, so he sucked balls. Their offense had 10 total points with 4 turnovers, and Zach Wilson had 3 of those turnovers. So, yeah, they suck. Zach Wilson sucks, so the Jets suck, basically. They need to get a better quarterback. I don't really care who it is. Anybody's a better option than Zach Wilson. Also, they had 0 running backs have over 10 rushing yards. Zach Wilson was the leading rusher with like 30 yards. Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, neither one of them had over 10 rushing yards this game. So they needed to have a run game, which I don't understand how you don't have a run game when Zach Wilson's your quarterback. Because then you have no game, which is what showed here because you got destroyed by the Cowboys and you sucked balls. Yeah. Number 19 is the Buccaneers. They were number 24, moving up 5 more spots. They had a good game this week. They beat the Bears by 10. They only had 20 points of offense because they did have a pick 6 this week. So their defense was great, only allowing 17 points, having 2 takeaways, and a pick 6 in there. Baker Mayfield was great, having 300 yards. He had 300 yards. Rachaad White had 100 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans had 170 yards and a touchdown. So their offense had some standout players despite only putting up 20 points. Chase Edmonds, running back, is also on the IR now, but he has 4 touches in the first 2 games, so it's not much of an L there. Just thought I'd mention it. If the Bucs play like they have been, they could definitely move up some spots in this ranking and win the division. Commanders at 18, they were number 22, so their offense this week, they beat the Broncos 35-33. 35 points with 0 turnovers is an amazing offensive performance. Eric Bieniemy knows what he's doing. He made Sam Howell look very good, having 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson also had 125 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Their kicker could have done way better. He was 2 for 4, the kicker was, but they still won the game, so not much to complain about. Their defense let up 33 points, not great. They did have 2 takeaways, but still 33 points is not good defense. But they won the game. They're 2-0. Right now, they're definitely I could definitely see them competing for the 7th seed right now for the wild card. I don't see them getting much higher than that, but if the Commanders somehow made the playoffs this year, that would definitely be a dub for Commanders fans. Steelers at 17, they were number 20. The Steelers had a solid game this week against the Browns. Their offense had 12 total points, so definitely not good offensively this week. But, they don't need to play good offensively when their defense scores 2 touchdowns. Their defense had more points than their offense this week. I would say that's pretty solid. Their defense had 2 touchdowns. Their offense had 12 points. So, yeah, literally defense had more points than offense. George Pickens was the only bright spot on offense, having 125 yards and a touchdown. But, they got to do better on offense. But if their defense plays like this every game, they will have no problem winning football games. Cam Hayward's on the IR this week. Deontay Johnson's on the IR. So Anthony McFarland's also on the IR. Not that he really plays a lot. He's like the 3rd-string running back. But, Najee kind of sucks sometimes. So McFarland could be used. But, yeah, they're without Johnson, Hayward, and McFarland for a few weeks now. So that's definitely hurting them a little bit. But, yeah, they're still pretty solid. Packers at 16, they were number 14. moved down 2 spots after losing to the Falcons by 1. I think the Falcons are a pretty solid team. Packers had 24 points of offense, pretty solid. They only allowed 25 points on defense, pretty solid. Had a takeaway. Ah, um, you know, Jordan Love did not play great this week. Barely completed half his passes for barely 150 yards, but he still had 3 touchdowns this week, so that's still pretty solid. Jaden Reed had 2 touchdowns this week as well, so Jaden Reed and looked pretty good. Jordan Love didn't look great, but had 3 touchdowns, so still pretty solid game there. Yeah. Atlanta Falcons is what I got next. They were 18, moved up 3 spots to be number 15. So yeah, like I just said, they won the game 25-24. 25 points, pretty solid with a turnover. So that not great there, but they only allowed 24 points of defense, pretty solid. Nothing great, but solid. Bijan Robinson, he's a dog. He had 170 yards today, or not today, but in their game. I did not expect him to get this much of a workload this soon. He basically took up all of Tyler Allgeier's reps this week, which I knew that was going to happen at some point, but I thought it would happen more like week 4 or 5. You get at least a couple weeks out of Tyler Allgeier, but Bijan just took over everything, and it worked. So, can't say I'm complaining a lot there, but yeah, Falcons number 15. Number 14 is the Browns, so they were number 9. Now they're 14. They lost to the Steelers by 4 points, but their defense was great. Their defense only allowed 12 points, and they had they had 2 takeaways on defense and allowing only 12 points. So it's amazing defense right there, but their offense sucked. They had 22 points of offense, which isn't horrible, but they had 4 turnovers, and the offense let the Steelers score 2 touchdowns. So definitely not great there. Obviously, opening the game with a pick 6 is not ideal. That was not Deshaun's fault, although it still goes on a stat sheet, and Deshaun did not play good otherwise this game. He actually had 3 total turnovers this game out of their team's 4. So, yeah, he still sucked. Even if that interception wasn't his fault, he still sucked. Obviously, Nick Chubb got injured for the season with a nasty-looking knee injury. They did sign Kareem Hunt to counter that. Also, running back Jerome Ford, who stepped in for Nick Chubb in this game, had 125 yards and a touchdown. So they should have 2 solid running back options to replace Nick Chubb. I don't think either one of them is going to be as productive as Nick Chubb, obviously, but still pretty solid options nonetheless. Number 13 is the Jags. They were 13 last week, so they didn't move at all. Did not play great this week. Their offense only had 9 points and a turnover, so that's really not good offense at all. With 0 touchdowns, not great. But their defense was amazing. They only allowed 17 points to Patrick Mahomes, which is, definitely a plus there. And they had 3 takeaways. So defense was great. Their offense sucked. Christian Kirk was the only bright spot, having over 100 yards, but you got to score a touchdown on offense if you want to win a game, bro. Come on, Jacksonville. Number 12 is the Lions. They were number 8. They dropped 4 spots after losing to the Seahawks by 6 in overtime. So the Lions, let's find the Lions on my paper. Lions. Yeah. So they scored 31 points of offense. They also threw a pick 6 on offense, so that is not ideal. They had 3 total turnovers on offense, so like I said, not ideal. And they allowed 37 points of defense. Technically, only allowed 30 points of defense, and then the pick 6 that they threw, but still allowing 30 points of defense is not great either. Jared Goff did play good this game, having 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. He had one interception, but when you have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and 121 passer rating, you can eat that interception. It was a pick 6, but he still played solid this game. Amon-Ra played good, had 100 yards. Josh Reynolds had 2 touchdowns, but yeah, you can't let the Seahawks score 37 points on you and expect to win a game. Chargers at 11. We're number 10. So Chargers have not looked great thus far. They definitely chargered this game away. They lost to the Titans 24-27. They scored 24 points of offense, pretty solid. They only allowed 27 points, which isn't bad, but like it's against the Titans and Ryan Tannehill, who had 3 turnovers last week, and you let him score 2 touchdowns today. So like you got to do better than that. Justin Herbert played good this game, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. So like I don't understand what the Chargers' problem is. Other than Brandon Staley, of course. That's what I would say. If I was the Chargers, I would have fired Brandon Staley 3 years ago before I even hired him, because Brandon Staley is literally the only thing that you can say is the problem with the Chargers. And that's been apparent for the last 3 years. Chargers management is just freaking blinder than Helen Keller and can't see that. It's freaking obvious that Brandon Staley is your issue. You're freaking riding Brandon Staley like I freaking ride your mom. Like, stop, bro. Literally. Rams, at number 10, we're number 19. So, they moved up 9 spots after losing a game. That's kind of odd, but it's mostly just because, because they've looked really solid in 2 games in a row, so I'm respecting them more for doing that a second game in a row. They put up 23 points against the 49ers, which is pretty solid. They did have 2 turnovers, so that's not great, but still pretty solid offense there. They allowed 30 points. Not horrible, but that's not good either. But they only lost by 7 to the 49ers, which I would say that's pretty solid. Second round running back Kyren Williams, played really good this game, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the first 2 weeks, he's looked good enough. The Rams traded away Cam Akers already, so pretty solid there for Kyren Williams. Rookie receiver, 5th round rookie, I believe, Puka Nacua, if that's how you say it. That's how I say it, Puka Nacua. He had 15 receptions for 147 yards this week. He is playing amazing right now. He's broken records already for rookie wide receivers. He's playing better right now than rookie Justin Jefferson did in his first 2 games, which is insane. He's playing better right now than Cooper Kupp is playing. Obviously, Cooper Kupp's not playing right now, but he's playing better than what I would expect Cooper Kupp to be doing at this point if he was playing. So when Cooper Kupp does come back, it's going to be very interesting to see both of them in this offense. The one problem with this offense is that Matthew Stafford threw 55 passes. That is not sustainable. He is like 36 years old or something. He can't throw 55 passes a game and expect to survive, basically. So you got to get a running game in there, even though you kind of did, because Kyren Williams did solid, but some of that was his receiving game that helped him. You got to run the ball more. Number 9 is the Bengals. They were 6th, moved down 3 spots. They're now 0-2. Not a great look for the Bengals. So yeah, they only had 17 points of offense with the turnover. Not great. They did have a punt return touchdown, so they did have 24 points, but still lost to the Ravens by 3, let up 27 points. Not great. Joe Burrow was only okay this game. Like, Joe Burrow needs to do better. I know he said his calf was acting up again, but like, so what? You got to do better, basically. Like, the Bengals need to win next week, or else that's going to be a very tough hole to dig themselves out of, being 0-3 and still trying to make the playoffs. But yeah, Bengals at number 9. Number 8, we got the Seahawks. They were number 16, now number 8. That's a very big jump. But the only reason they were so low is because their offense sucked week 1. But this week, their offense was very good. So, that's basically what got them for me. They had 37 points this week. Only 30 of that, or 31 of that was on offense. No, 30 of that was offense because they had a pick 6 on defense, but still 30 points of offense is really good, I would say. Against the Lions, who the Chiefs could only get 20 points out of, the Seahawks got 30 points out of. So, yeah, pretty solid there. Their defense was not great. They allowed 31 points. They did have 3 takeaways and a pick 6, but, like, they still allowed 31 points, so not great there. Geno was really good, having almost 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker and Tyler Lockett each had 2 touchdowns, so that's really good. Julian Love had 10 tackles. Seahawks played really good this week. Dolphins, number 7. They were number 5. Yeah, so basically, the reason the Dolphins dropped is because they only beat the Patriots by 7, Like week 1, Tua and Tyreek Hill went off. Week 2, neither one of them did anything spectacular. So like that's basically why they dropped. They only put up 24 points this week. It's not horrible, but they could definitely do better. They still had a turnover with 24 points, so not great offense, but it's decent. Their defense was great, only allowing 17 points and having 2 takeaways there. But like I said, their passing game wasn't special. Raheem Mostert had 100 yards and a touchdown, so that's pretty solid. But their kicker also sucked. Their kicker is 1 for 3. You can't really like. They could have won this game by 13 points. Instead, they only won by 7 because their kicker was 1 for 3 on field goals. Not great there, but maybe he'll do better in the future. Ravens, they moved up 6 spots from number 12 all the way to number 6. They played really solid this week. They had 27 points of offense. Their defense only allowed 17 points, and they had a takeaway. They let up a punt return touchdown, but defense still only let up 17 points. That's pretty solid, I would say, against the Bengals, who I would expect to get more than 17 points on offense. Lamar Jackson had 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's really good for him, too. So Ravens played really solid on both ends of the ball. So that's why I got them at number 6. Bills at number 5. We're number 7, moved up 2 spots after absolutely obliterating the Raiders. They had 38 points of offense, only allowed 10 points on defense, and had 3 takeaways. So amazing game all around for the Bills. Josh Allen played football this week. He did not have 4 turnovers this week himself. He actually had 3 touchdowns and 124 passer rating. So basically, Josh Allen, when he scores touchdowns, they win games. When he turns it over, they lose games. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty obvious there. But that's what seems to be happening. James Cook also played really good, having 150 yards this game. Bills played really good everywhere this game. And Josh Allen played like an MVP. Number 4 is Kansas City Chiefs. They were number 3, have moved down 1 spot because they had a very non-impressive victory over the Jaguars. They put up 17 points of offense while having 3 turnovers. That is not good for Kansas City offense. That's not good for any offense. Definitely not a Kansas City offense. Patrick Mahomes had an interception this game. I don't think he's had an interception in 2 games in a row for a long time. I can't remember a time that's happened. Probably has, but I can't remember a time it has. And I know he has not started the season off with an interception in back-to-back games in his NFL career. So, not promising there, but you expect improvement, basically. Their defense was amazing. They only allowed 9 points, 0 touchdowns, and they had a takeaway. So, defense was great. Offense was not great. But Mahomes still had 330 yards and 2 touchdowns with that 1 interception. But, he still played pretty solid despite the 1 interception. And Travis Kelce had a touchdown this game, and Chris Jones looked really good this game. So those guys coming back definitely helped the Chiefs. The Eagles are number 3. They were number 4, moved up 1 spot, mostly just because the Chiefs had to move down because they played poorly, even though they won. Eagles beat the Vikings by 6 points. They were up by more than 6 points for the majority of the game. The Vikings got a couple of late scores to make it look closer, but the Eagles were doing really good this game. They had 34 points of offense, only 1 turnover, pretty solid. They did allow 28 points on defense, which is not good, but they had 4 takeaways, so that makes up for it. They had 259 rushing yards this game, which is amazing. Jalen Hurts had 3 touchdowns, with 2 of them being rushing touchdowns, so they dominated the run game. DeAndre Swift had 180 rushing yards. That's crazy. And a touchdown. Devontae Smith had 131 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. So Smith and Swift both bought out this game. Yeah, so that's what I got to say about the Eagles. Number 2 is the 49ers. They moved down 1 spot, not because they played bad, just because the team that moved ahead of them just played better than they did. Niners had 30 points. That's pretty good. They only allowed 23 points and had 2 takeaways. That's pretty good. McCaffrey had 100 yards and a touchdown. Deebo had 100 yards and a touchdown. The Niners did nothing wrong in this game. They just didn't do as good as number 1, which is the Dallas Cowboys, who went 2-0. Are 2-0. Moved up 1 spot after destroying the Jets. They beat the Jets 30-10. They had 30 points of offense. That's pretty good. They only allowed 10 points of defense while having 4 takeaways. That is amazing. I've also never seen any team dominate the time of possession as much as the Cowboys did. They had 42 minutes and 15 seconds of offense versus 17 minutes and 45 seconds for the Jets. They beat the Jets in time of possession by nearly 25 minutes. That's insane. I've never seen that before. Dak was really good this game. 2 touchdowns, 112 passer rating. CeeDee Lamb had 143 yards this week. Their kicker, Brandon Aubrey, had 5 for 5 from field goals this week. That's amazing considering Brett Maher was the kicker last year. Couldn't even go 5 for 5 from extra point. He couldn't even make an extra point. And this guy made 5 field goals in a row. So I think that's a little bit of an improvement there, I would say. That brings me in to our game picks. So I got the Niners over the Giants, the Lions over the Falcons, the Ravens over the Colts, the Bills over the Commanders, the Patriots over the Jets, the Browns over the Titans, the Chargers over the Vikings, the Dolphins over the Broncos, the Jags over the Texans, the Packers over the Saints, the Seahawks over the Panthers, the Cowboys over the Cardinals, the Chiefs over the Bears, the Steelers over the Raiders, the Eagles over the Buccaneers, and the Bengals over the Rams. Now, my week 2 record, I know it says week 1. I just forgot to change it. My week 2 record was 12-4. That's pretty solid week 2 record. Both my lock of the week and upset of the week hit for week 2. So that's a dub there. And my total record so far through 2 weeks is 22-10. I would say that's pretty solid right there. That's nearly a 70% winning percentage. So for this week's lock of the week, we have a special. I'm tripling down on my lock of the week for this week. We got the Chiefs over the Bears as a lock, the Cowboys over Cardinals as a second lock, and the Niners over the Giants as my third lock of the week. If I could legally bet moneyline bets right now, I can't because I'm 18 and in Kansas. So, if I was somewhere else, maybe I could, and if I was 21, maybe I could, but since I cannot do that right now, I'm kind of upset about it. But if I could legally bet moneyline bets, I would put a lot of money down on a Chiefs, Cowboys, and Niners parlay this week because there is zero chance that Justin Fields is beating Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that's just not happening. If that happens, I will personally fly to freaking Kansas City and tell Patrick Mahomes that he sucks. Cowboys over the Cardinals. Yeah, so basically, Cowboys have looked like the most dominant team this year by far, and the Cardinals freaking suck. So, if the Cardinals somehow beat the Cowboys, I would literally cut off my left testicle because that's literally just not happening. And the Niners over the Giants are sucking this year. The Niners are playing like one of the best teams in football this year. The Giants also don't have Saquon Barkley this week. So, if the Giants beat the Niners, I'll cut off my right testicle. So basically, what's on stake for me is cutting off both my testicles. And I'll just change the Chiefs' punishment to cutting off my penis. I'm gonna lose all my genitals this week if these teams, if the Chiefs, Cowboys, and Niners somehow lose. It's just not happening. So, yeah, my upset of the week is the Steelers over the Raiders. It's an upset of the week, so it's not supposed to be an obvious choice. I'm supposed to be a little bit hesitant on there. But I think the Steelers, their defense is really good. The Raiders' defense is not really good, so Steelers win that category. Steelers' offense isn't great, and the Raiders' offense is better, but not great. So I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Steelers will win that game. So that is done. That is it for me. For this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Come back next week for a new video. And if there's any other sort of video ideas you want me to do, feel free to comment those down below. And let me know if you want me to do an NBA power rankings once the NBA season starts.